Okay, so we have a new small project to do. This is a Sweet Tooth from Twisted Metal. I've never played the video game, I'm not familiar with it, but I watched the TV show Twisted Metal, and I gotta say I really enjoyed it. It was very fun. So I'm gonna try to do his skin. I'm gonna try to avoid the belts so I don't lose any detail. I hope to get this in 2 rounds so I don't have to put too much primer on, because the primer is going to hit the belts, right? And I don't want to lose detail. And we'll take a little closer look. You can see some kind of layers. And when I look at the pictures, that shouldn't be there. I think that should be smooth. But it's exactly the same on both sides. So I'm not sure if that's actually supposed to be there or not, but I don't think so. So we're gonna fill this in and sand, and if it goes, it goes. And I'll do the back, and I'm gonna do a little bit on his head. Definitely on the top dome here, and I think I saw another spot on the back. Yeah, we got a little issue in the back right here. So again, I don't think that's part of the model. It's not on this side, so we're gonna do around the head. So I'm going to avoid the belt and the hair. I might do his nose. Yeah, do his nose maybe. So we'll see how smooth we can make this little Sweet Tooth model. And I'll go through each of the steps as we go. So I'm going to paint this right now. And then we'll take a look at it painted. And then I'll sand it. And then I'll prime it, etc. Okay, so I have my Sweet Tooth painted. I can't really touch it. So I went around the belts and did all the areas. So I'm going to wait for this to dry and then sand it off, and then we'll go prime it, and we'll see what we have. And I did his head, I did his nose. The chin actually had a lot of issues from the supports, so I'm going to do that. A couple little touches up on top here, see if I can get rid of those circles, and then the back of his head, and that should be enough. That it should come up pretty good, but we'll know when it's primed. You can't hide anything from the primer. Okay, so I'll be back after it's sanded. Okay, I have my Sweet Tooth sanded. So he's been painted with our paint, and I've given him a sanding. I'm gonna wipe him off with paper towel, right? Can't use water because that'll just reactivate the paint and make a mess. And you can see the layer lines, just how many there were. So it's all filling in nice. So I'm going to try to paint him lightly, but I'm going to use the filler primer, which is thicker than normal primer. But I'm just going to try to do it light because I don't want to lose details on the buckles. And we'll take a peek at his head. So let me get it. There we go. So you can see how many layer lines there were. I'm going to leave them in the strap. I don't think I'm going to do the strap because you know, it would kind of look leathery, I think. And I did his nose. See if it'll focus in. Yeah, you can see all the layer lines and the stepping on his nose, so I'll try to get rid of that and start it on his chin where the supports were. So this is round 1. I will go prime him lightly, and then we'll take a look, and the primer should show us where we need work. Okay, Sweet Tooth is back from his priming. So let's take a look at the head. So right up on top, his eyebrows, I'll definitely do some in the top of his head. I think that's probably supposed to be a lot of eyebrow in there, so I'm not going to worry about it. I think a good paint job in the eyes will take care of that, but his nose for sure. Definitely the side of his face. So the primer really tells the story. The back of his head, so I got to get all those spots. So he might go for another round or 2. We got the big guy back, and I don't know what these are, honestly. So I gotta fill all that in and sand it with our paint. Maybe put a little extra time sanding over these lines, you know, go over an extra 20 passes or so with the sandpaper, because something's going on. I don't know if that's supposed to be there or not. I don't think so. And let's turn him around, look at the back, get him in focus. So back just another round, we'll get rid of those layer lines. work down here again, same as the front. I'm really not sure what's happening with these things. I'll take a look online and see if their pictures show a different story. I mean, maybe this is some sort of design he has painted on his body or something. So I might not have to get rid of those, but I'll check it out. And then after he's painted and sanded again, I'll come back and I'll know the answer, hopefully. Okay, I have my sweet tooth sanded. So I'm hoping when I get his body back from priming that I just have to do some touch-ups to turn it around. Oops. So I'm hoping that the filler primer can take care of most of it. I'll give it a wipe off with a paper towel. So that's my hope, because I don't want to spray too much filler primer and lose my belt details. That's a nice part of it. His head, I think I'm almost certain I'm going to have to do another round. It was pretty bad. So I'm trying to lose as little detail as I can. But that's where we are. So I'm gonna go prime these and then I'll come back and we'll take a look at them. So Sweet Tooth is back from priming. So we'll take a look at him. I'm definitely gonna do the cheeks and under his chin one more time. Maybe a little bit on top of the eyebrows and top of his head. Try to get in there. I think the back of his head's okay. Maybe I'll do a little bit over that band right there. But other than that, it's, you know, it's tiny little spaces. I'm just going to do the best I can in those. And on the big part, definitely going to do the, what is that? So I'm going to do the chest and arm area right here. Same thing on the other side. Do that one more time. They need a little touching up. See how the front chest is doing. Yeah, I think everywhere just a little touch up. I don't have to go heavy this time. His back is probably fine. The next coat of primer will cover all that. Down at the bottom and in the back, right here on both sides. So a little bit of touching up on him and his head, and that should be it. So I will paint it and sand it and then prime it, and then we'll look at it. There's no point in looking at it in between unless I happen to think of it. Okay, so I put the touch-ups on Sweet Tooth. So I'll give that a sanding and a priming, and hopefully he'll be finished, at least as finished as I'm going to do him. So I will see you after the priming. Okay, so I have my Sweet Tooth done as much as I'm going to do. I'm going to go prime it, and it's not going to be perfect, but that's okay, because I think I'm probably keeping it for myself. I checked the pictures to see, and the marks that were on his skin, they were, you know, misprints, so I'm glad I fixed them. But it turns out that some of these marks were part of his face mask damage. So I've actually fixed some of the damage on his face mask, but that happens. And I've just got too many projects to do right now and to get to for people, so I just quickly sanded this, and I'm going to prime it, and I'm probably going to keep it, so I'm not going to end up getting a perfect finish, but it'll be okay. So after it's primed and dried, we'll take a look at it. Okay, so I have my Sweet Tooth back, and I'm good with this. So most of these marks I was trying to get rid of are actually his mask, problems with his mask. So I'm good with that, and his body's okay. Much better than it was. Got it pretty smooth. Take a look at the back. So this is fine. I'm going to leave it like this and call this project done. He's ready for some paint. And of course I could do a little wet sanding on him too to smooth him right out in the parts that I fixed. Some 1200 or higher grit wet sand. All right, on to the next project.